Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Journalist Talk. This is your host, Bea Barros, and today's episode, it's already one of my favorites. I only have my script here with me and my voice and all the equipment in front of me, but it's my favorite so far because it's actually because of all of you guys that listen to my podcast whenever I publish, Pacific time, Friday nights, or whenever you guys listen to it. Because on Monday, I woke up to a very nice email from my podcast distributor, Buzzsprout. And, in the email was telling me that I hit 500 downloads. And as much as 500 downloads for some might not be much, but for me and a podcast that started very from scratch, from zero, and, having 500 downloads, it's not like just you guys listening to it. I got to make like 500 of you or 500 times like some people download my episodes, and this is like a milestone for me. So this episode, you guys are going to get to know me a little bit more. I just did a very quick first episode, my episode 0. So I think it's finally time for us to have a conversation in which you guys know who I am. And I just really wanted to thank all of you for being here for me and supporting me in this crazy journey that it's going to be almost 2 years now. It's going to be almost 2 years that I have my podcast, and this is not oh my god, I'm so happy right now. It's not that easy, and it was a bunch of work to make this podcast happen. So thank you so much for your support, for you always listening, for people who engage with me on social media as well. I feel so blessed to have you guys, with me in this journey. So let's start this episode. First of all, my name is Bea Barros, and actually this is a very short, maybe like my artistic name for journalism and everything. So yes, I am 23 years old. I was born in São Paulo in Brazil. And I started my BA in journalism, of course. And when I was in the middle of my sophomore year, I transferred to CSUN. And last year, 2022, in May, I got my BA diploma because I graduated. And in the next semester, I entered the master's program in mass communication here at CSUN, and that's what I've been doing ever since. I have a job at the radio station here in the campus, which is something that I truly love for the longest time, and it's a job that helped me find who I really am as a journalist, as well as this podcast, because I figured out that it's not print, it's not TV, it's not PR. I love audio journalism. I love audio, I love radio, I love podcasting, I love audio documentaries. So anything related to audio is my passion. I love to make people feel that they are having a conversation with you, and that's what I really want to do in this episode. I really hope that, you guys enjoy it, because I'm just going to open up a little bit, explain a little more about how this podcast came to be. And also, I just wanted to thank all of my guests, because without them, I wouldn't have episodes as well. So if you were a guest here already, or if you're about to be a guest in this podcast, I just want to thank you so much for trusting in me to tell your story and share some of your life, career, academic achievements. So thank you so much to everybody that is involved in this podcast. It's honestly so... I have no words, okay? I'm trying to think of like this podcast, this episode, as something very raw, in which you guys are gonna see like me talking to you, like, not much of a cut in this episode, because I really am speechless for whatever happened. And when I wanted to start this podcast, if I'm not mistaken, it was in the beginning of 2021. I was still studying in Brazil because the pandemic hit and I had to go back home. So I was studying from season. However, I was back in Brazil. And I was talking to some friends of mine, and I was like, you know what? I want to create a podcast. I want to interview people. I want to have like a plan for it, right? And then I was like, why not do like with journalists? You know, we never get to know them, actually, because if you're a journalist like me, you know that you are always on the other side of the mic. You are always pointing the mic at someone instead of like yourself. When you're interviewing someone, you just ask the questions. You're not there to talk about what you feel, what you are, and I feel like opening the space for journalists to just like tell their story and tell me and you guys how they came to be, how they got passionate by journalism, if it was like something organic or something that just happened out of nowhere. I was like, okay, that's a very good idea. And so I started to apply for a scholarship that was kind of like an enterprise, and I was like, you know what? I just need equipment to do this podcast happen. I need to get like websites. I need to know how everything works. And I got it. I got a scholarship. Apparently they thought that it was a good idea, and I'm very thankful for that scholarship that started everything that I'm doing right now. And I got into contact with the podcast professor at CSUN, who is now my boss. And I was like, can you help me? She was like, first you have to plan this, and that. You have to make sure you know a name, you make a logo, like what is your podcast about. That's why I say that Journalist Talk is the podcast from journalists to journalists. And that's the reality. And even for curious, I will add that. After 2 years, I will add that it's also for the curious. And, I started working on this project, and with the help of her, I started doing more writing, more plans, and, my logo and everything. I still have the same logo from when I started. And, it's a logo that I'm very proud of. I think it's very accurate with me and my podcast. So right after that, she was like, I'm teaching the podcast class. Why don't you come in and start it from there? So I got enrolled in the class. I had already a jump start on the other students because I had already my plan. And, I started publishing the first episodes. My professor would give me, tips, advice on how to improve it, what to do, how to start it, platforms to use. So everything that I have in it right now, I learned it in the class. So also thank you for Professor Tammy Trujillo. That was a very good help in starting this podcast. And I even have an episode with her on season 2. So if you haven't heard it, here's the promo of one of my old episodes. And, go listen to the other ones too, because, that's all of this is about. It's about my podcast and you guys being very supportive of me. And so, like I was saying, after the class, I was like, you know what? I want to take this very seriously because I really loved it. And, I took my very long time to gather more interviews, more people to come. And, graduating semester, everything was happening. And I finally started being more consistent in summer of 2022, in which I came up with, bi-weekly episodes. And right now I'm so proud to say that I do weekly episodes every Friday. And, this is like so much for me because I started not with the bi-weekly ones, but when I was in class, it was like monthly episodes. So right now, my podcast evolves so much. I have 30 plus episodes already out, and I'm very proud of each one of them. Every story that I told in here is from people that I admire, friends of mine, people who are going to achieve great things in the future, and people who already achieved like amazing things in this life. Yeah, we got into 2023, season 3 of this podcast, and so far it's going well thanks to all of you guys. And I just don't want to go too over with this episode, but I just wanted you guys to know me a little better and know that I'm very grateful for all of you, all of my guests, listeners, everybody that supports me in this journey, honestly, because this podcast is my baby. It's my personal project. It's my creation. It's 100% mine. It's something that I can say that it's like me. I did it, and I'm so proud of it, And so you guys know a little bit more about me, where I came from, how I become a journalist, how I'm here, how this podcast came to be. And, the only thing that I have to ask you guys is keep listening on it. I am going to be here every Friday with you guys. And again, I just want to thank you so much for 500 downloads. Let's always go for more. Right now, my next goal is 1,000. So I know we can make this work because you guys are amazing and are making my dream of being a podcaster come true. So I just want to thank you all very much. And in my language, Portuguese, I also want to say obrigada for everybody that listens and, practices their English with it, because I know that there's some people that does that, which is something that I never thought when I started this podcast. And I'm happy to help people in this kind of way. So yeah, I'm just so grateful. And you know the drill. Next Friday I'm gonna be here, so I'll see you guys in the next episode, and bye bye.